Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Live Dive, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but tomorrow is Friday, December 1st, so we're already heading into the month of December, which means the Christmas season really kicks into high gear, and if I have any words of advice to you, it's simply this: enjoy this time, enjoy every moment, because the Christmas season every year always seems to just fly by so quickly, and the next thing you know, it's New Year's Day, and you're asking yourself, well, where did the holiday season go? So be sure to cherish every moment. And speaking of Christmas and this season, I want to remind you again that our Christmas party, the Bridge Christmas Party, is on Saturday, December 23rd. Saturday, December 23rd, we'll get together and have some fun, and stay tuned to social media and also to our Sunday school class and Wednesday night class as I will reveal more details of what we will be doing and when we'll meet and all of that for Saturday, December 23rd, our Christmas party. So let's go ahead and dive into what we want to talk about today. I want to reveal to you our new theme of the month for the month of December, and it's this: a believer's benefits. But today, we'll be specifically talking about the importance of putting others first. Putting others first. Now, you might have noticed that a believer's benefits, that kind of had a little bit of a Christmassy theme to it, and I thought, when I was looking at what this month is about, it's about really talking about the benefits that we as Christ followers have. And so it's almost like God has given us these presents or these gifts for being one of his followers, kind of like having presents under a Christmas tree. And so that's what we'll be talking about over the next month. And so today, as part of this topic of putting others first, I want to talk about something that Paul wrote to the Corinthian church. We're actually still studying the book of 1 Corinthians. And in 1 Corinthians chapter 11, he addresses the Lord's Supper. Now, the Lord's Supper was a really big deal to a lot of the early churches, and including the church in the city of Corinth. They would do it just about every week, and every week before partaking in the Lord's Supper, this ceremony, they would have a love feast, as they called it, where they would bring a lot of food and drink and fellowship and have a good time. However, it was evident to Paul that the Corinthians had forgotten really the purpose of having these get-togethers and to commemorate the Lord's Supper. It looked like that many of the people, they got drunk at these feasts. They would eat too much food, and it was obvious that they were just there just to have a good time. And on top of all of that, the poorer members of the church who really couldn't afford to bring any food to this feast, they kind of felt shamed because they really didn't want to eat the food, or maybe the richer people felt like that the poor people shouldn't eat any of the food because they didn't bring any. And so there was that issue as well that really bothered Paul. And so he wrote in 1 Corinthians chapter 11, verse 22, he said, "What? Have ye not houses to eat and to drink in? Or despise ye the church of God, and shame them that have not? What shall I say to you? Shall I praise you in this? Oh no, I praise you not." And he goes on to remind them of the words of Christ at the Last Supper, when Christ said, "This do in remembrance of me." What Paul is doing is he's reminding them of what Christ said to the disciples at the Last Supper as he was breaking the bread and passing around drink. He said, "Drink and eat in remembrance of me." And that the point of the Lord's Supper was to do it to commemorate what Christ had done for them. But they had forgotten that. In fact, in history, church history tells us that these love feasts were getting so out of hand that different committees and councils, such as the Council of Carthage, which was a city, Carthage was a city, and religious leaders gathered there. But that council, amongst with some others, they actually decided to ban love feasts. They said it's getting out of hand. They're forgetting the purpose of why we do these love feasts and commemorate the Lord's Supper. And I was thinking how relevant for us today, because even though we may not necessarily do something like what the Corinthian church did, we can allow some of our celebrations to really distract us, and we can forget about why we do these things to begin with. And I think the Christmas holiday is one of them. In the midst of all the parties and the Christmas programs and all of the Christmas lights and the music and all of that stuff, it can be easy for us to forget why we celebrate this time of the year. It's to commemorate the birth of Christ, who was literally born to die on the cross for our sins. And so I urge you today to not follow the example of the Corinthians. With all of this fun stuff, go out and have fun and enjoy this holiday season, but never ever forget why we're doing this. We are doing it to honor the birth of Christ. We are doing this to really lead others to Christ and to serve others, not to just think selfishly and to just think of having a good time. So as always, think on during this holiday season why we celebrate this season. Don't lose sight of it, just as the Corinthians lost sight of why they do the Lord's Supper. Before I let you go, remember Sunday school, 10 a.m. upstairs in the gym mezzanine at the First Free Will Baptist Church of Tampa, and that is in just a few days. But until then, have a good night and have a great weekend.